every single week. Every week, it kicks me out again. Oh my.
Uh, can I send an invite through here? Let's see. Na, 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 na. If that works.
Probably should.
Okay, well, good news is we're streaming. We have a technical glitch on board 88. Joining me as the main com will be Maniko, but Codemasters decided to kick him out. I know the feeling because that happened to me last night. And we're here for Tier 4 at Monza. We have 12 drivers here tonight. And while Maniko gets his things gathered up, you're not missing anything. No one's left the pits yet. Here's your championship recap. Gonna be interesting because we have some heavy hitters here not racing tonight that are on the top of the standings. So Tor Mixer leads after 8 rounds with 116 points. He's not here though. Second place is Titan with 104 points. He's not here. James B, 103 points. And third place, he's here. So James B could make a good case to get the championship lead by the end of the night. One underdog is P4 with 83 points. Wrath is P5 with 78 points. Caesar, P6 with 57. P7 is Bald Guy with 46. Urban Growth is P8 with 35. The Coach is P9 with 32. And Sprightly is P10 with 26. And then the Constructors, Aston Martin leads, well, by quite the margin. They have 199 points. They're 82 points clear of McLaren, who's in P2 with 117 points. Alpine is P3 with 104 points, just 13 back of McLaren. Red Bull has 81 points in P4. Ferrari's P5 with 72 points. AlphaTauri's P6 of 69. So very close battle there for P5 in the championship. P7 is Alfa Romeo with 35 points, 2 points ahead of Mercedes, who's in P8. Was the last time you saw that in real life? And then Williams is P9 with 19 points, and Haas is P10 with 13. Nico, are you here?
I think that's the first time that the CoCom has ever had the starting sequence for me whenever I started commentating. So that was definitely a first. And well, needless to say, you handled that very beautifully, and I guess you could say I'm like a proud dad, but I'm not, because I'm not a dad. You're older than me. But anyways,
well,
moving on from that, I'm here. We're all here.
Actually, we've not even had a car start a qualifying lap. I believe that's going to be the Coach who will start things off first.
Yes, it is, and let's just go over to the track. Of course, we're here for the Italian Grand Prix, as you said, here at the one, the only Temple of Speed, Monza. You've got 11 corners that make up this historic track, 7 to the right and 4 to the left, 2 DRS zones, 1 down the main straight, and second after the 2 Lesmos. And this track is going to be pretty much a DRS train, because that DRS is very, very powerful around here. And, well, that won't stop us from having any action whatsoever. But if there's one thing that I know from this track that has been a recurring theme, it's those curves at the chicane. Absolutely deadly. You hit a curb, you could basically be sent to NASA by how hard you can hit those. So I'll have to watch out for that as this qualifying gets underway.
Yeah, speaking of the curves, you have scary curves. You saw that catch out a couple of guys last night in the realistic tier. Also, the kind of curves at the end of the second chicane that leads into the 2 Lesmos. That one can be tricky as well. If you catch too much of the gravel, it could just basically send you right in the wall, or just basically the inside wall. So it's not a pretty simple track, to be honest, even though it's basically a lot of straights.
Yeah, it may look simple, but by the way that these drivers manage it, it is anything but. And we'll see if any of these curves will catch out anybody. That is a yellow flag that I think the coach is getting out of the way for Quick Tongue, as Quick Tongue is going to be the first one to put a lap time on the board, and is a 1:22.4 on the soft compounded tire. That is the lap time that everybody is going to try and chase after. Frizy across the line, and he's just over a 1/10.5 adrift from the Alfa Romeo. And as you said, the main person to watch out in this qualifying and in this entire session is going to be on the other side of that McLaren garage of James B. Because if he gets a podium, at least, 3rd place or higher, he will take the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And we know how fast he is. We know that he is quick in this tier, so he could very well take it tonight.
Very well indeed. Showed really good pace second half of last year, or last season, I might add. Came up just short to the championship with Phantom, but that wasn't in a full season. This is in a full season. He's only missed 2 races, I think, due to just stuff going on. But you look at his form, in 6 races, he has finished on the podium all but once.
Yeah, of course, that race being Monza, which is the other Italian Grand Prix, but he managed to grab a points-paying position in 6th. So he is still pretty... I guess you could say he's on a point streak, but obviously he hasn't shown 2 races. But, you know, the points are points. He's getting them every single time he shows up, which is fair. And, by the way, something I want to mention about points... There's only 104 points left in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, that's a very good...
So, that means, after last week... we had a couple of drivers get knocked out of championship contention because 2R Mixer has 116 points, and obviously you need 104. So anybody with 11 points or lower are knocked out, and that is down to P15 of Quick Tongue and further down, which is obviously not what they would have wanted for their season, but that's racing, I guess you could say. And, well, the knockouts, they're coming in, and they're not going to slow down anytime soon, needless to say.
No, I mean, we still got 4 races left. I mean, Underdogs is P4 with 83 points. I mean, if he comes out of here for a good night, and, you know, let's say James B doesn't really have a good night, even though there are 12 people here, one would assume James B and Underdog will probably get into a really good result. But let's say that happens. One Underdog can get right back in this as well. So, same with, I mean, Wrathful's not too far behind. So, if they can get this is the perfect night for them to cash in. And who knows? And if James B struggles, it's a perfect opportunity to cash in.
Yeah, it definitely is. By the way, you mentioned Wrath a little bit earlier. I think we can call him the George Russell of this tier. And what I mean by that, every single race that he's done, which is literally every single race this season, not only has he finished in the points, he has finished, on average, at least, like, 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
If that isn't consistency, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Let's hopefully see if he can do one better here tonight, especially when the likes of Titan, Mixer, they don't exist, to put it simply. They're not here tonight.
No, they're not.
So, he could get something out of this. You never know, as he's going to come across the line, and he goes on the front row with his teammate as it stands.
Yep, I mean, outside of that 8th place finish at Bahrain, yeah. His lowest finish is 6th twice, including that podium at Imola and the changing conditions. You know, one thing that I do wonder a bit, being the fact that we only have 12 people, is if anyone's going to, start this race on mediums and try to be in the top 10. So far, everyone's got softs. At least either they've done a lap on softs, or have them set up in the pits.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a sea of red pretty much when it comes to the tires as it stands. Speaking of tires, we got the C4, C3, and C2 compounded tire, which should be the compounds, I would say, for the rest of the season, but we'll have to see. I got a weather report from the Mercedes of the coach as Bald Guy goes on to provisional pole in the Ferrari with a 121.1, so a pole at home soil for Ferrari. That would be very tasty. We'll have to see. But anyways, back to the weather report. I'm being told that there is rain at the start of this race, but then it should end shortly after the race starts. So we're going to have a little bit of rain at the beginning of this race, which could be very tasty indeed. Oh, and that's Sprightly hitting both the curbs at the second chicane. Nearly got sent to the moon, but he manages to keep it out of the wall.
So that would explain why everyone's on softs, maybe, because if it is going to be a wet start, then tire choice does not matter. So there's kind of really no point in doing a medium run unless you just want to do a reconnaissance lap.
question is about that. It can rain, but it depends on how hard it will rain, because if it doesn't rain hard enough, you could still be stuck on a set of slicks. If not, then you could be on the intern, so we'll have to see how that pans out.
Taking a look, so we've had 8 set of time. James B has not gone out yet. I don't think he's even left the garage at all yet.
No, he has not. I can confirm that. He's just been minding his own business, needless to say.
Yeah, Brooks is just starting a lap now, but yeah, I wonder if he had an issue there in the first sector there. It looked slow when I first came up when it came to acceleration, but that's purple sector 1. Okay, never mind. My eyes just deceived me.
Yeah, so far, I'm not sure if it is an actual purple sector 1, but if it is, and so far he is on a good run. Books, obviously, he started late in this season, but he has definitely shown that he has the pace to be here in the first place, because if I look over, his first race was at Britain, at Silverstone, and he put that car into a podium place on the alternate strategy. So, you never know. He could get something out of this. He did set a purple sector 2. Again, questioning if it's legit or not. We'll have to see, but he's coming around the final corner of, if I can remember the name, Parabolica. Yeah, Parabolica, okay. And now blast down the main straight, and where does he put it?
He
puts it onto 3rd. So maybe he lost a little bit of time in sector 3. But still a very good lap time from the Williams.
Yeah, as we are approaching 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in qualifying. Trying to just see what other... Aston Martin, they're in the position to where they could wrap up this championship as Brooks is spun in sector 1 after he'll get it going through the Curva Grande. But actually, I only have one Aston Martin here. So...
yeah, so they won't be able to wrap it up here tonight, but they can still grab a handful of points over, I believe second place was,
McLaren.
If I can pull it up on my laptop here, it was McLaren. Now, both McLarens are here, and obviously James B being one of them, that is going to be a very tough ask. One underdog, he did invalidate his lap time through Ascari, so he'll have to go again. He had a purple sector 1, and I believe a purple sector 2, but unfortunately just got a little bit mixed up in sector 3 at Ascari, proving rather tricky there for these drivers as it stands.
Yeah, I found, Ascari pretty... There was a lot of people having issues there, just invalidations there last night. It's a very fast complex of corners. And then I've always looked at it as if you get one of those corners wrong, or if you're in the wrong spot, that the rest of the couple of corners there, you're not going to be in the right spot.
Yeah, one little mistake and you're losing a heap of time in comparison to everyone you're around. And that could definitely cost you a chance of possibly DRS. Though DRS is right before Parabolica, so we'll have to see if that will possibly play a factor. So Ascari could be a make-or-break situation as Slow and Steady invalidates through Ascari. He cut the corner.
Yeah, it was 4/10 up. He was, yeah.
Over. Bald guy's starting to lap in the Ferrari. Let's actually go through and see what he does. So through the first chicane, hitting the curb a little bit on the inside. Don't think you want to do that, but he manages to get it nice and neat out of the exit. Now through Curva Grande, pinching the right-hand side with the inside, which is reducing the amount of time lost. Though he's a 10th down. So not the sector 1 he would have wanted. Through the second chicane, missing those sausage curbs, which is exactly what you want to do, because, as I said, they want to send you to NASA. Now, through the first Lesmo, nice and tidy, not exactly pushing the limits too much. Lesmo 2, same situation, getting nicely on the curb. Then, DRS, once again, for the Ferrari, blasting down that straight before we get to turns 8, 9, and 10 of Ascari. He's still just over a 10th down as it stands. Very nice and tidy there, though, for the Ferrari. And let's see if he's possibly gained any time from that. Blasting down the straight before we get through to Parabolica. Can he nail this final corner to improve on his lap time? He's already on pole by just under a 10th. Can he do it again? Comes across the line. He does not. He's still a 10th down, but by the looks of it, he's gonna go again.
Well, he had I don't know if I have the battery to complete 2. Whatever issue that he had in Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3 basically was even, so...
Pace is there. He just needs to unlock it and put it all together.
Looking at quick time, he's, I think, about to start another lap.
Purple Sector 1 there for Bald Guy, so he's figured out his issues in Sector 1, but he goes wide at the first Lesmo. Doesn't invalidate, though, actually. That's a bit surprising.
He's lucky.
It's really on the curb there.
He's lucky he didn't get the rear end to snap there and go into the inside wall.
Yeah, he is very lucky. He's able to keep it going, though he is half a second down, so I think that is going to be his lap time aborted, and he is going to go probably straight into the pits. Because he has the time to do it. Oh, by the way, someone we haven't really mentioned all that much, who's currently now on an out lap, James B. He has come out of the pits. This is going to be a one-lap flyer for the McLaren.
Well,
Feels a little bit ballsy there, if I'm being honest. One lap, you think it's all you need? That reminds me of a certain Red Bull driver back then.
It reminds me when Vettel did that. What was that? Singapore 2011?
It's either 2011 or 2013.
I want to say it was one of those 2 years. Yeah. Yeah. Just one lap. That's all I needed. But then again,
he did that early. James B's doing it late, so there's the difference. But same case, pretty much.
That was true. Yeah. But then again, you look at Vettel's record there at Singapore at that time period. 1 in 2010, 11, 12, 13. Wait, no. Did he win 2011? Hold up.
There was one race in his championship winning streak that he didn't for Singapore. Because when he came into Singapore in 2015, he only had 3 wins at the time. Now he has 5 because he won in 2015, 2019. So there's clearly one blip. Actually, no. When did Alonso win?
Alonso won
in 2010?
Alonso won in 2010.
Yeah, there it is.
That's right.
Pulled that out of the record books in my mind. I don't know how.
Well, he had Vettel basically draped all over him pretty much the entire race, and Alonso had to hold him off. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, you're right. It was 2010. So it's, who's that? That's fun.
That's an Alfa Romeo. Is that a Quick Tongue? It is Quick Tongue. He's managed to keep it all together, though. Erman Growth is retired in the pit, so he's not going to be able to challenge for pole. So Erman Growth, at best, is going to be starting P2, but James B, he is on a lap. Is it going to be a purple Sector 3 from the McLaren? Yes, it is. We'll have to see if it's legit or not, but he's giving absolutely everything. He loses the car! He's in the wall! He's out! Oh!
Wow.
Huge moment for the McLaren. And just pushing the limits too much. And he's out.
Well, that changes everything. I think even if Underdog doesn't produce a lap, James B will start 12th. But if you're Wrath and if you're tied
a moment there with
mix
my
around
mic,
here,
I apologize.
I bring it up as we speak. Underdog. Oh well, we have potentially both of these two guys starting in the back, so
Could be a very exciting one, needless to say, but qualifying's now over. Is Books gonna challenge for pole? No, he doesn't. He sticks it on the front row, so Books not able to compete for pole position. But what about one Underdog? He is on a lap. It's not a purple Sector 2. As long as he just doesn't go too wide through Parabolica, he can do it as he's going through it right now. Doesn't exactly push the limit, so he knows what's at stake. He knows he's down in P12. Where does this lap put him?
Fourth.
It puts him in P4, so solid qualifying for him. But we'll have to see if that will change as Frizzy's going to come across the line. Where does he put that McLaren? P7. Not the best of laps, but he's still a top 10 start for the McLaren. Next across the line is going to be DeCoach. He's nearly 7/10 up on his lap time. Can he put that Mercedes anywhere higher? I think he's only P9.
I think he got, P9.
Not entirely
P10.
sure.
So,
But one thing's for sure, one lap was all it needed, and it is pole position on home soil for Ferrari as Bald Guy takes pole position by just 0.05 over Books. A tight qualifying, but a qualifying falling in the way of the Scuderia. So Books will line up in second place. Urban Growth, once again, showing his pace. He lines up in third. One Underdog lines up fourth ahead of Slow and Steady. Wrath, P6, he likes being in that area, needless to say. As Frizy, P7, ahead of Quick Tongue, that's the coach. And Arabian Killer rounding out the top 10. Sprightly, just missing out. And James B, the outlier, down in P12, crashed out.
it's unfortunate.
He's going to be one to watch.
He will be one to watch indeed. Might see a last of first challenge by James B. Certainly has the pace to do it. Can't get it all in one go. He's going to have to patiently move up the order, but we'll see also with this rain how that changes things as well. See how strong it is at first. Oh, it's very light.
Could be a bit close to Inter, but it's like, it's half and half.
Well, are there any puddles out there though? I don't see any puddles in the pit lane. Because
Okay, I had to deal with a couple things, but we're going over to race director. There it is. They're all on Inters. So there you go. That's how strong the weather is.
I don't think they're going to be on interest for long though, unless this rain picks up. The rain, it is raining, but there's not many puddles there. So once this rain stops, you're going to see people coming to get those slicks as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll just definitely have to see if, and like, as to how long this rain will last and how significant it will be in this race. Because obviously in the wet there is no DRS.
No.
DRS, obviously they'll provide you overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and also into Ascari. But we're not going to have that. So now it's just a matter of managing your pace and keeping it on the track. And you could still have, and you could possibly have a good race. Just a matter of who can do it best here tonight. But, one thing I want to ask, though, is... Well, usually I would ask, who do you think the podium sitter is going to be? But no. What do you think is going to be a huge surprise in this race? What's your prediction for that?
Well, we had tricky conditions at Imola, and Wrath got a podium. And I think Wrath is really close on for the win there. So, tricky conditions again. Wouldn't surprise me if Wrath is at least in the podium spots, if not higher, as the Arabian Killer has been. He's been disqualified.
Yeah, he has, but luckily that's not disqualification from the entire race. It's just formation lap, so he can kind of get away with that, but his tires are not going to be in the best condition.
It's just a single window, so usually when we see DSQs for that, we see two drivers because they made contact, so I don't want to have an Arabian there.
I'm not sure either, but we'll have to see if that'll affect him in this race. But from what I'm hearing, though, from your prediction, is that you're looking for Wrath, is what you're saying.
Well, I can't think that if we've had a rain-affected Tier 4 race since Imola.
It's certainly been a while, yeah. I think it was Imola that was the last
I was in
one.
that race.
Yeah. No, it was just Imola. And while this is the second rain-affected race, and how convenient it is that it's also in the same country.
That's very, very valid.
That's a bit of a theme going on there, but yeah,
I think
it's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna boil down, and we saw this in real life last week, and it's going to be who nails getting onto the right compound at the right time. You said there's no DRS, so when the slicks are on, as lights are on, that's going to be the key thing right there.
Yes, it is. The fiber lights are on for the Italian Grand Prix. That's a jump start for the coach, Frizy, and I believe that was also Slow and Steady as well.
Yes.
So already we already got a bunch of jump starts. but lights out and away we go. That distracted me, and Bald Guy is going to comfortably lead into turn 1. Then he breaks a little bit too deep and cuts the corner. As a result of it, that's going to give one underdog a bit of motivation to try and chase after that for Ferrari. But so far, the top two staying nice and clean. Wrath up to P3, Irma Growth up into P4. Books rounding out the top 5 so far. Everybody keeping it nice and tidy through the first couple of corners. Not really any major incidents. James B not moving up any positions as it stands as right now.
Ooh,
bit of a squirrely moment there from Irma Growth, but manages to keep it clean. But no, Books is trying to challenge for that position, but Herman, with that superior grip, able to keep it around the outside, and he stays ahead. No, Books is actually still sticking his nose in. Irma Growth goes wide, and now Books is ahead and well away from the Red Bull. He is up into P4, but so far, not really any major incidents, and Bald Guy in the Ferrari on home soil still leads this race.
Not the only things that we've seen incident-wise is right at the start, with 3 guys getting jump starts. Just, I guess, a little bit too antsy.
They were held for quite a while, so it's
Yeah,
not surprising. There's a yellow flag. That's Arabian Killer around.
It is. He's missing his left end plate, so I will assume he pits. It's still raining, so maybe he stays. We'll see. He probably can't pit for slicks, obviously, because it's still raining.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see as Bald Guy leads the first lap from underdog Wrath. Books and Irma Growth, though Irma Growth and Books still going at it down into turn 1. Irma Growth on the inside. Books trying to keep it around the outside. He manages to do so. That was almost reminiscent of Verstappen and Hamilton there. But Books just getting a little bit squirrely. Possibly a little bit contact. That's an Alfa Romeo. That's quick tongue in the wall.
He's not out. So we have a VSC.
He lost his complete front wing. Wow.
I tell you, 3 people, well, actually 4 people that wish that this was a safety car. The coach, Frizy, Sloon, and Arabian, who Frizy, the coach of Sloon, just served their drive-through.
Yeah, that is definitely going to hurt. That is definitely going to hurt their races. They're well off the back, and that's Quick Tug going wide, missing the chicane, and yeah. No front wing, that's definitely going to not help him in this race. He's not entirely had the best of seasons, and well, reminiscent of him being knocked out of championship contention, this is not what he wanted to possibly bounce back. But we'll see if he can still possibly grab a couple of points in this race. So we're still waiting on the virtual safety car to end. And let's just look over at the position changes. So far, the biggest movers have been Sprightly and James B, both up 5.
Well, Sprightly and James B benefited the fact that 3 of them ahead of them had to serve their drive-through, so that helps as the VSC is over. And no messages of anyone speeding under the VSC, so that's very good.
Yeah, let's not have more drive-thrus. We already got 3 off the start. I don't want to see any more. But one thing's for sure, though, James B, he did manage to benefit, though. He is quite a ways away from the pack. Same with Sprightly as well. We'll have to see if they could possibly climb back up, but right now, the top 3, nearly within, I would say, 2 seconds of each other, but they're starting to spread a little bit. Quick Tongue in the pits, unsurprisingly, has to change his front wing. And one thing's for sure is that this pit stop doesn't help them, because they're all on inters, and it could potentially dry. So, it's definitely not going to help them at all.
Well, we have to report in qualifying that this rain should stop in theory in this race, just a question of when. And it's...
yeah, we'll just have to see. Right now, the rain not really letting up.
No.
It's pretty much stayed the same as it stands. And that's something Bald Guy wants to see, because he looks to have quite a bit of pace in hand here in the wet, as he sets up Purple Sector 1 and Purple Sector 2. So Bald Guy, he wants this rain to stay, I'm thinking, because he clearly has a lot of pace. And same with James B, because he's clawed back nearly a second and a half to Sprightly ahead.
Yeah, I think right now, Bald Guy underdog. There probably is. Oh, we get another yellow flag. What is that? I believe that's
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady. He had a moment there.
Doesn't look like he has any front wing damage, so he managed to get away with that. Oh, no. Never mind. He does. Not. So he's managed to keep it going. Bald Guy now sets the fastest lap of the race. And wait a minute. James B's in the pits.
Interesting. Did he get damaged
That's
somewhere?
a set of slicks.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting. It's still raining. The rain intensity hasn't increased, but it hasn't, in my opinion, decreased. This is
the yellow
quite...
flag in Sector 1. Books has had a moment somewhere. So the track conditions are definitely changing as of right now. Sprightly on the inside of Books is going to easily get ahead. Actually, not quite. Books still trying to challenge into the second chicane, but Sprightly with the inside is able to clear the Williams, and Sprightly now up into 5th. So he's been moving up quite a bit, and add that another one onto his list as he's now in the top 5.
Watching James B to see how his pace is. It's going to be very important for him to keep temperature in this tire. The corners, you know, they're going to be an issue, but the straights is where he should probably pick up time, but he's actually dropped back now half a second through just the first sector.
It doesn't look like it's time. He is losing quite a bit of time to slow and steady ahead, so that might have not been the best of calls.
Actually, it's maintaining right now, 3 seconds.
Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. There's a battle forming for the lead as one underdog set the fastest lap. And now going wheel to wheel now with Bald Guy on the inside. Goes one underdog in the Aston Martin. Can he take the position? Yes, he does. One underdog now takes the lead of the Italian Grand Prix from Bald Guy. DRS has been enabled. So this is going to be the outlier.
James B's time is matching slow and steady, and it's only going to get faster. So this is very close to the time. We already see...
Yellow flag. Sprightly had a moment.
So we had Urban Grove, Brooks, and now I believe the coach, he went to mediums. I believe Slow and Steady is in.
Yes, he is, but now the one thing to watch out for is not just James B, Urban Growth. Urban Growth is ahead of James B, and he's on the soft compounded tire. Let's go on board with the Red Bull, and, well, the track, it's hard to tell, really.
It is.
It's kind of hard to tell the the real condition right now.
It's still raining.
It's a lot less rain, though, that's for sure.
It's a lot less rain, but we just saw where DRS is enabled, so actually, Sector 2, by the end of Sector 2 going to Sector 3, it looks like it's not raining anymore.
One underdog's in the pits. Same with Wrath. And the rain's gone.
Yeah.
It's no longer raining anymore. So there you have it. So Wrath and one underdog, what tires do they go on? Wrath is on a set of mediums, one underdog is on a set of softs. So, this is where strategy is now going to possibly play a bit of a part as who has the best tire and who can theoretically go to the end. I think that's what Wrath and the coach are trying to plan out here.
I agree. I think the soft compound is the more preferred tire to be on in these conditions right now, but the mediums can last longer and could potentially go to the end. I don't see these soft guys being able to go the rest of the race on this one set, as it looks like there is a dry line starting to perform change. Yeah, in the middle of Urban Grande watching the Red Bulls.
Just watching the time difference between one underdog and Sprightly, and yeah, it's definitely time for Wentz. Wrath gets a little bit of a moment there, and the two Red Bulls swap now. Irma Growth has gotten ahead of Wrath, and now is up into P4. And the question is whether they can possibly try and undercut the two Ferraris as Zaramian Killarak is round at Ascari. And the main person to watch out for here is Bald Guy now, as he's coming around Parabolica, and I would presume he's going to come into the pits. And he is.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh!
Oh!
Not what he needed.
5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Just a little bit too hot coming into the pits, and that is going to cost him mediums for the Ferrari, though. So he is thinking of potentially going to the end. We'll have to see. Sprightly is now into the pits, so the Ferrari, I guess you could say double stack, but they were so far apart that it's hard to tell. And one underdog, with that undercut, has managed to pull the gap for Bald Guy, and he now secures the lead in the Italian Grand Prix. And Bald Guy, he's still P2, but he's a long ways back from one underdog now.
He is, but I don't see Underdog being able to make the rest of this race on that compound. He's gonna have to pit again. So, Bald Guy should, in theory, inherit the lead. The thing though that really hurts him is that 5-second penalty. Is right now he's got Urban Growth and Wrath basically within his 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna hurt him in the latter stages. We'll have to see. Quick Tongue also picked up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so clearly these drivers are just pushing a little bit too much into the pits, and it's hurting them as, well, they're not really gaining anything. They're losing a lot more than they're gaining, so they're gonna have to be really mindful of that. But yeah, Bald Guy on the mediums, he's gonna be one to watch out for. Same with Wrath, same with Sprightly and Frizy. We'll have to see if they can go into the end. It's a bit of a stretch, but you never know. It could potentially happen. As of right now, though, everyone's kind of pretty spread out now, but so far the closest battle, slowly starting to ramp up, is gonna be between Urban Growth and Bald Guy for P2, as one Underdog sets the fastest lap.
Yeah, for 26.7. Yeah, I think
time's starting to drop, obviously due to track condition.
Be interesting to see what Bald Guy does here. He knows Urban Growth is on a fresh set of softs behind him, or 2-lap softs, as Brooks now sets a 26.2. How much does Bald Guy fight him?
I bet if I were in that position, I'd think it would have been smarter to stay behind, but you just never know. There's a yellow flag, and that's Books around. He's just spun off of the first chicane, possibly hitting that curb.
Yeah, the track for sure is basically all but dry.
Oh yeah, comfortably dry.
As Underdog, he has flown away from Bald Guy. But
now Bald Guy has to watch out for Urban Growth, as Urban Growth does have the DRS on the Ferrari, but just nothing doing, as the DRS in through Ascari, just not long enough. The Bald Guy going a bit wide there, and they're now going wheel to wheel now at the exit of Ascari, but Urban Growth, I think, is going to stay ahead because of that DRS detection.
I think the real important number here is, yeah, Bald Guy, yeah, he's 5.7 seconds back. Urban Growth's basically 2/10. He'll for sure get the lead here with DRS, but Wrath is 5.5 seconds behind Bald Guy. So at the moment, if he doesn't have to pit, he will remain the race leader if he can keep that gap.
It also depends on one Underdog and Urban Growth as well, because they're on that soft. They'll have to make a charge. And if they have the pace, in which by the looks of it they do, they could potentially have a shot in the latter stages, or they could potentially just completely overcut and not even have to worry about overtaking the Ferrari.
Yeah. It certainly one Underdog. He's kind of just in his own little zip code right now. We'll see if...
He's got a Hosper company. A little bit.
Yeah, we'll see if Urban Growth can now eat into that time now that he's cleared a Bald Guy 7 seconds back.
Yeah, one Underdog just pulling that gap and increasing it ever so much more, lap after lap after lap. Now he's contending with someone with the same tires, but he's still pulling that gap. So one Underdog clearly looking like one of the fastest guys out on track. Same with the McLaren right now of James B, as he is now on the back of Wrath.
Yep, James B, like Underdog and Growth, he's on that soft compound. He was the first to blink and pit for slicks.
I don't think it entirely benefited him, though. That's the thing, though. He clears the Red Bull way before turn 1.
It might have been 1 lap early, but outside of the first sector, which makes sense, so that's when the tires were the coldest leaving the pit lane, his time was even. It did not have any drop-off to the car ahead, which is a clear sign that the track, it's at that point of, you need to go to slicks because you're not having drop-off.
That is very true, though. Obviously, Slow and Steady wasn't entirely having the best of lap times, whereas the leaders were just pulling away. But, James B just able to stay with that Alfa Romeo a little bit. It was marginal, but he was still pretty much there, and that probably was the call, especially when DRS was enabled, because that's that's a pretty good outlier.
Yeah.
As to when it is time for dries.
I would say
Probably the best outlier.
I won't lie. When you get a race like this, and you're on the engineer side, you don't want to be the first guy to pull the trigger, and you're just hoping for one guy to be the guinea pig. So that way, like, all right, let's look. So that way you can validate. Yeah, all right, yeah, it's not time, or actually it is time. Sometimes you just don't want to be that first guy.
You know what that makes me think of? That makes me think of Sebastian Vettel in Turkey, as James B says the fast lap. But Vettel, he pulled the gun and went onto a set of mediums at the Turkish Grand Prix in 2021, and that definitely didn't work. Everyone stayed out on inters, and it ruined Vettel's race.
Well,
it's definitely one of those moments.
If you remember Brazil 2012, Red Bull put him on slicks, thinking that's going to be the preferred tire. That Vettel's like, no, it's not. It comes in the pits. Of course, Red Bull can't hear him. And
that's a Haas.
Is that Arabian? It is. But he comes in the pits and everyone's in the garage. Oh, wait, Vettel's here and loses about 15 seconds.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he was very mad about that. And I don't blame him, to be fair. But luckily that hasn't been the case here. That hasn't been the case here at Monza, and everyone timing it nicely. James B a little bit on the fence, but
that might have been
able to just time it perfectly almost.
Yeah, I remember the one time where Rocky, as his engineer, was like, "Thank God I can't hear you."
And yeah, if you were in that position, I just throw the headphones off. It's just like, I don't want to hear this. Nope.
Well, he doesn't have to, because Vettel can't respond on the radio. The radio's broken, so he's like, I'm glad I can't hear him.
Fair enough. Yeah, so it works out eventually. So, lap 12 in this race, and so far, the soft runners as of right now are one underdog, Urban Growth, James B, Books, and then both Alfa Romeos and Arabian Killer Act. The question is, at this point, when do they pit?
Well, we saw realistic. The longest I think people went was, what, 10 laps, 11 laps? That was with wear from qualifying. I'm going to assume, what, 12 laps is the amount? Maybe 13?
Quite potentially, and there's already 5 laps done on one underdog, so you take that into account. It'd be, like, lap 17 or something? I don't know.
Best case in theory is, I mean, okay, you look at James B's working on lap 7, you got 15 to go. Probably have it to where, maybe stay out 4 more laps, 5. Try to split your tire stint to where you're going to get really good rubber for both sets. Not push out one long and then have the drop off, then throw on the softs. You're going to want to probably split it right down the middle. There's Arabian pits.
Actually, this is something I just thought of. His Books is now in the pits as well. Yeah, Arabian Killer done. He has retired. Obviously, he was a couple laps down. And that's not the race he would have won. But my question is, though, when it comes to this, do they have to meet the tire allocation? Because obviously they started on inters.
If the race starts on inters, no, you don't. There is no tire allocation. You can hit for whatever compound you want. That's why Bald Guy and Ranth are kind of sitting pretty right now. Bald Guy, I think, is really sitting pretty, unless Underdog when he pits, same with Urban Growth, but mainly it's Underdog right now if he's able to catch up to Bald Guy, especially with his 5 seconds. But no, there is no compounds rule if it rains. None.
Yeah, so really the biggest outlier is Bald Guy. So this could still definitely play in his hands. But here's another thing to factor, though. Obviously, Urban Growth and One Underdog, they are on those softs. They will have to pit, but they'll be on another set of softs.
Yeah.
And fresh softs with low fuel?
Yeah.
They're going to be rapid.
And right now, as you mentioned earlier, the field is kind of strung out, so they're not going to be held up a lot. I don't think so.
Well, theoretically, if One Underdog would pit now, the delta for pit stops is, I would say, like 20 seconds or something like that. So he'd be coming in and coming out at in between James B and Wrath. I believe ahead of Wrath and behind James B. And the gap between those two
it will be about
is
10 seconds. He will come out probably about 10 seconds, 9 seconds behind Bald Guy. But here's the thing. Underdog is still increasing the gap. Right now, the gap from Underdog to Bald Guy is 12 seconds. So, theoretically, yeah, 8 to 9 seconds he'll come back trailing.
I think what One Underdog is thinking, obviously, no matter what happens, he'll still be in the chase for the lead. But I think what One Underdog is thinking, man, a safety car in this situation would be perfect. Because if he pits, a safety car comes out, he's not going to lose as much time.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If a safety car comes out right now, everyone's going to pit. Bald Guy gets his 5 seconds removed. I'm sure Bald Guy wouldn't mind that. But I think the way it is right now, Urban Growth is on the same strategy that he's on. He has to pit, and he's 9 seconds clear of Urban Growth. So, unless Underdog makes a mistake, I think he would be able to catch Bald Guy just fine. Because here's the thing, James B has to pit too.
That is very true, and as of right now, if James B were to pit, well, he's got quite a comfortable gap to really be in, because he'd be in between Wrath and Sprightly. But yeah, those three definitely in the same situation. They're still in the fight for the podium, as James B gets a little bit on the gravel there at the exit of turn 5. Yeah, everybody in the same situation to the point where they have to pit, but the question is as to how fast they're able to catch up to the ones in front that theoretically do not have to pit. Obviously, that being Bald Guy.
I would say if you're Underdog, I would pit the lap after James B, who's in P4, so that way, in theory, you don't have to deal with him. So that way, you come out of the box, all you have to really deal with is Bald Guy up the road that should, in theory, be 7, 8 seconds up the road. Don't have to worry about James B. That's when I would pit him.
That would be that would be pretty good, because obviously, he does pit. James B would be ahead. He is pulling that gap, but it's not going to be enough. So, yeah, James B is really the one that One Underdog is probably watching out for. And with that, James B has the oldest set of soft compounded tires. Yeah. He's got 11 laps on those softs. Going on board of the McLaren, they don't look too bad, to be fair. However, the drop-off on the softs is a lot more significant. And that's really the big difference, as James B is not really caught up to Bald Guy.
And Bald Guy's pace, it's slowly... Underdog's still slightly faster, but not by much.
Yeah, I think this is the point where the mediums are going to start to feel a little bit better than that of the softs right now. So, Bald Guy, potentially one of the faster guys out on track right now. But obviously, when these guys do pit, Bald Guy will almost be a sitting duck by the time they catch up to them. But it's just a matter of how fast and when. And, well, does One Underdog pull it? Does he go into the pits? No, he doesn't, so he's going to stay out. And, well, who knows? If anybody's going to pit sooner. They would have to, though.
The thing is, Underdog is working lap 10. As here comes James B's in. James B is in. Doesn't get a speeding penalty. If I was Underdog, I would pit this lap. Same thing with Urban Growth. I would pit this lap. The gap from Underdog to Wrath is 27 seconds. So...
yeah, they'll easily come out ahead.
They will come out and basically buy themselves in clean air. You couldn't ask for a better situation than this right now.
Especially when you're only chasing one guy.
Yeah.
And it is the leader. So they would want to see that. But one thing's for sure, James B stuck on another set of softs. So James B is now going to be rapid. But the question is how rapid he will be to catch up to the likes of Bald Guy. If he does catch up to Bald Guy is the question.
That's
over to One Underdog going through Sector 3. Does he pit?
I would say Bald Guy has pretty much stayed within 2 seconds of Urban Growth pretty much after Urban Growth got by him. So it's Hawkeye's done a really, really good job on this medium stint. It's just, this is
One underdog stays out.
interesting.
So he's stretching those set of softs. What about if Urban Growth?
He's in.
He's in. That's exactly what Urban Growth wanted to see as James
Hawkeye's
B into the
as
pits.
well.
Oh. Okay. So throw that out the window completely. I did not expect that coming into this. I would have suspected he would have gone to the end there, but he has to serve his 5-second, of course, which is gonna hurt him. But look who is on those mediums and stayed out.
How long do these mediums last? I would assume they can go, what, another 20 laps? They can go 20 laps total?
I would assume so, yeah.
Fresh set? I mean, okay, so... Problem is, you have Wrath.
The big outlier now is the Red Bull instead, Wrath. Obviously, he's not going to be able to get ahead of one underdog, as he's 28 seconds out in front. One underdog is going to be way ahead of the Red Bull, but Wrath, if he manages to keep it consistent and potentially stay ahead, he can still be on for something. So
yeah, you got underdog. Theoretically, underdog should pit and still retain the lead, but James B's only 4 seconds behind Urban Growth, so don't know how much the drop-off of these mediums are going to be, but James B could potentially get in the mix for a podium if he can catch Wrath. Sector 3, what is...
That's a glitch. That was 100% a glitch. I didn't see any difference. The drivers that were in there were James B, Urban Growth, and Wrath. Nothing happened to them.
Okay.
At least I don't think. Actually, no, I'm wrong! Wrath doesn't have a front wing! He's lost his front wing there. That's what the yellow flags were. He's in the pits.
I noticed.
That has absolutely ruined his race.
It has, indeed. That will push Urban Growth and James B now in the podium positions. As Wrath will pit for softs.
We have a bit of a battle now forming. We actually have a battle on track for the first time. Feels like it's been forever, but here we are, and it's Frizy on books, but Frizy unable to do anything. They'll have to stay behind.
So...
About time there's an on-track battle.
Indeed. So when is Underdog gonna pit? Is he... I mean, I would just pit. You're not gonna lose anything. You're still gonna be the leader. Unless he doesn't know that, but I would assume he does.
He's literally got nothing to lose.
No.
Literally. He loses his front wing, he's still gonna come out in front. He's 32 seconds ahead. He's half the track ahead of the next driver. He has nothing to lose in this, but he's staying out 13 laps on those softs, and he's still going at quite a decent pace.
It's the last time we saw a driver with a 32-second lead.
It's been forever.
By the way,
it's been forever.
It's been on merit. I mean,
it is, yeah. And he does pay. He's still gonna have.
He's gonna
quite
have
a reasonable gap. As
he's
James
gonna
B
have an
knows
11-second lead, which before he pitted, he had what? As Frizy pits.
He had pretty much like an 11 to 12 second lead. Like this isn't affecting him whatsoever. Or maybe he's pulling. But one thing I definitely remember is Frizy and Quicktongue are into the pits. One thing I remember, it may not be the same track, but it's the same scenario of stretching a set of tires, where I believe it was a Williams driver a couple of seasons ago that took 30 laps on a set of mediums at Netherlands on F1 2020, where the tires obviously deteriorated a lot more. He took those mediums 30 laps.
Jeez.
30 laps on a set of mediums. It's unbelievable. Like, I don't know if he's doing that, but if he is, that is going to be...
If he's...
Tire-saving God is the answer.
If he's doing that, I applaud him. I wouldn't do it. No, there's no point. But, stays out again. Oh, no, wait, that's Urban Growth.
Looking over onto his set of softs, you can definitely see quite a bit of wear on that front left. There is quite a bit. I believe that might be in around the 60% range. So, he is there.
The rears don't look any better.
Yeah, they definitely don't. As Quick Tongue is going to unlap himself right here.
That just shows you the pace right now between 14 lap softs versus Quick Tongue, who's just pitted. I mean,
again, one underdog has pretty much nothing to lose out of this.
No.
And Roscoe's saying, no way, you can get to the end on softs. And it's like,
gets a puncture, then that could change everything.
Oh, it definitely can.
And
as he's still staying out, I think he is. I genuinely think he's actually doing this. He's got DRS as well, which is going to help him. He could potentially actually be doing this. That's scary. There's no way. There's simply no way you can take a set of softs for pretty much 21 laps.
I feel bad.
21 laps on a set of softs.
I feel bad for Quick Tongue. He's getting blue flags. I'm like, I'm faster than him. I just passed him.
I literally just overtook him with DRS before Ascari. You're still giving me blue flags. What is this? I'm just absolutely amazed as to how he's still managing this, and he hasn't dropped off that much.
No, he hasn't.
That's the bigger thing.
I think
he's not just staking out and like losing like 2 seconds a lap. No. He's only losing like a couple of tenths.
I think he's lost, ever since Urban Growth has came in, I think he's lost 3 seconds. That's not bad. That's not bad considering he's on lap 15 of softs versus Urban Growth right now on 3 laps.
Yeah, 15 laps with the softs compared to someone who literally just pitted is giving absolutely everything. Like, he has shown that despite that qualifying, he is still a factor.
Okay,
no, he's coming in! Finally! Wow. There was absolutely no need, but he did it anyways. He's gonna be on a fresh set of sauce now, comfortably to the end.
Look at how bad those tires are. Jesus.
Yeah,
wow.
They look absolutely nasty. Fair play. Fair play, one underdog, and Sprightly gets a 30-second, but now, actually, this may be a poise one underdog can comfortably get the fastest lap. I don't know. And again, I don't know why you would do this, but he's doing it.
He hasn't touched his battery the whole race. It's at 100%.
There's no way! He has been cruising this entire time. Incredible. That's just absolutely incredible. And the gap between him and Urban Growth is 4.4. So he's still comfortably ahead.
Maybe he wanted to pit for the last 5 laps, but his crew chief was too busy eating ice cream.
Maybe. Maybe it's just a matter of Red Bull's, like Sergio Perez's engineers falling asleep, and he's just like, did you fall asleep? Wake up. I need to pit here, guys. I'm gonna risk a puncture.
Anyone that's seen Days of Thunders will get that reference. And if you don't,
I haven't, but I need to.
I will show you that clip later.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna have to. As I'm not gonna get it up until after I see that clip. Pan out. But yeah, not Urban Growth. One underdog on a fresh set of softs. I would say 4 laps left by the time he crosses the line. And well, for the race that is the Temple of Speed, and with a lot of DRS trains, there hasn't really been a lot of training in this race, which is pretty surprising if I'm being honest.
Well, we had the wet start, and that kind of, shows who's got the driver ability in the wet, because it's very different from the dry. That kind of strung out things a little bit. VSC, some people mistimed it a little bit when it ended, but no one got a drive-through because of it. And we had 3 people get a drive-through. Frizy, the coach, and I believe Quick Tongue was the other one.
They're still getting points.
They're still getting points, but, that being the fact that we didn't get a safety car, that kind of hurt, their race.
Yeah, but they'll still, luckily for them, they'll still get something out of it, which is good, but probably not what they would have wanted. No safety cars definitely do not help.
We have Sector 2, that is, I believe,
It's an Alfa Romeo.
That's Sloan, that's around at the end of the second Lesmo.
Full course safety car.
Well,
What is that for?
I'm going.
Hello?
I'm going to assume it was Sloan who didn't retire from the track. He was at
He still has his front wing.
he was at a weird angle. He had a couple cars still going, so he couldn't move. And once they moved, he moved.
Oh.
I'm not saying anything cheeky. No, you don't want to jump out in the middle of traffic, i.e., Lance Stroll, or you know.
Damn.
Well,
For me not liking Lance Stroll, I like the fact that he took a dig.
well,
I like that.
mean, but no, you remember that race.
Potentially. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing when it comes to this. So someone steady gets a 5-second. Jainsby pitted, by the way. He pitted onto a fresh set of softs. Slow and steady retires. But here's the thing I want to know out of all this. No matter what in the F1 game, no matter what happens, you will get 2 laps of racing. It's lap 25, and the safety car is out. This safety car is not going to be out for long.
No, but I think James B will be able to catch the safety car. I think he will have
coming on to the exit of the second Lesmo, whereas James B, he's arriving at the second chicane. I think he'll still be able to arrive. I think he will. Maybe even Wrath might arrive there as well. Maybe not, I don't know. It's going to be a bit tight, though, but one thing's for sure is that we're going to have a 2-lap dash, and it's going to be kind of spread out, if I'm being honest. Safety car's already in.
I think you're going to get the top 4 to be able to join. Here comes James B.
There's Ball Guy.
Scary.
Ball Guy's joined the queue of the top 3. But James B, he is going to catch up.
He's going to have a full head of steam.
And
fresh set.
Let's not forget, the safety car, it kind of cools down your tires due to how slow you're getting. James B has been pushing to get to the safety car this entire time. So James B has a very, very nicely warmed set of tires, whereas the guys in front of him kind of don't, as one underdog is already gone. So the race is already resumed. That was pretty much a virtual at that point, but he's gone, and he's called out Urban Growth. So now Urban Growth is under pressure from Bald Guy, but James B potentially having a little bit of a look, not quite. So he is unable to do anything, and there's still a bit of a battle going on for the back, as Books is all over the back of Sprightly as of right now. Things could still wrap up here, and still 2 laps left to go. This is like realistic all of a sudden, but they only had 2 laps left of racing, and it still provided fireworks as Bald Guy trying to look for a move on Urban Growth, just not quite able to get alongside.
Yep, underdog is starting to pull the gap. He already has a second lead. Problem is James B, he's going to have to do this the hard way with no DRS unless we get on the last lap. Don't think we will, though.
You need at least 2 laps of racing in order to get DRS, so no, they will not.
Yep, underdog.
Not get DRS, so he needs to get this on pace.
Barring a 3-second penalty, and knock on wood for underdog's sake, he is shut away. Here's James B's all over the back of Ball Guy.
He's got that slipstream. He may not have DRS, but he's got that toe on the inside through Parabolic. Ball Guy trying to keep it around the outside, and he's managing to do so. The Ball Guy is very low on ERS. He's already blinking, and James B clears the Ferrari. James B is now up into 3rd place. Can he try and chase after Urban Growth on the last lap of this race? It's gonna be a bit tight, but he needs to get a move on right now.
Well, you said what? If James B got a podium, he would inherit the lead.
That is very true.
Well,
and right now, he is currently 3rd and challenging for 2nd. He's all over the back of the Red Bull. He's challenging into the second chicane. Is he farther ahead of the Red Bull? Gets on the curb, but he's ahead. James B is up at the 2nd place. He's got 3 seconds to the car in front, so he's not able to get that place unless one underdog gets a 3-second tie play, but he doesn't need to push it. He has no reason to push it.
He might get fastest lap with you doing these 2 overtakes. He was purple sector 1. Okay.
Nope, purple sector 2. We'll have to see, but there's no way he's going to be able to challenge the Aston Martin here. Night and day he has been through this entire race. He had a great start. He inherited the lead. He made a set of softs last 16 laps, and he still came out in front. And despite the safety car, he still has the pace. As one underdog crosses the line, takes the fastest lap, and wins here in Monza. He takes the Italian Grand Prix, his second win of the season. James B, from last on the grid, will take second place in this race. A great recovery for the McLaren. And with that, the Drivers' Championship is now in his hands with only 3 races left to go. Irma Growth manages to hold up Bald Guy to take third place in this race. Bald Guy will have to settle for fourth from pole. Wrath, once again, another top 5, but nearly lost out to Books as Books was on the back of him. Frizy will finish in 7th place, Sprightly in 8th, the coach in 9th, and Quick Tongue will come around the final corner to finish out the top 10 and the last points paying position. But one underdog, it was a win. Very much well-deserved.
Very much well-deserved. He got fastest lap with that, so he'll get 26 points, which will help him massively in the championship. He came into this thing 83 points. Now he'll come in with 109 points. So theoretically, he will be 6 points behind Mixer, and I think if it's all said and done, he'll pass Titan, I believe.
He'll be third in the championship.
Yeah.
Do not count one underdog from being an underdog in this championship. He takes it here in Imola, his second win. And with that, he is on a championship charge. They lines up with Bald Guy on the podium, who takes second place and the championship lead with that. Irma Growth once again, not once again actually. Well, no, it is once again. He takes another podium, his second podium of the season. Bald Guy from pole, could have been, just didn't quite have the pace. Bale still managed to grab a 4th place finish. Wrath will finish in 5th ahead of Books, Frizy, Sprightly, to coach, Quick Tongue, slow and steady, and Arabian Killak unfortunately retired from this race, as I will try to get the drivers in here.
I've done that to speak. I tell you, we didn't really. This might be a race where we might not even see any steward events. Pretty straightforward.
That's very true. That is very true. That's the last time a tier 4 race had a straightforward one.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right here, it never happens.
No.
It never, ever happens.
We got underdog in here. We're still waiting on. There's James B, our second place finisher, and there's one underdog. Oh, he left. Oh well, try to get him back. I sent an invite to
I'm trying to ping him.
Urban Growth. There he is. So,
Let's see if he's available.
you try working on Urban Growth. James B, unfortunately, in your only qualifying attempt, you crashed out at the exit of the Ascari, so you had to start 12th. Finished second place. Not to quite last the first challenge, but second's good enough.
Yeah, no, I'll take that.
And you are, if my math is correct, the new championship leader. Talk about the decision to pit for slicks, being the fact that you were the first one to bite. What made you think the conditions were ready?
I just took a bit of a gamble, really, just to try and make something happen, I guess. Just try and gain some time on the drivers ahead. Hats off to one underdog. What a great drive from him. That was brilliant. He was miles ahead of us. So congratulations to him. It was a great drive from him. But yeah, I just was trying to, make something out of nothing, and P2 in the end's pretty good. I'll take that.
What was your thoughts when you saw the safety car come out? Because you were probably going to be, P4, P5. Still a fantastic
My thoughts,
drive.
honestly,
the
first thing I thought of was, if I'm one underdog, I'm losing it.
I
would have been livid.
Too.
That was my first thought. I was like, far out.
We were watching you trying to catch up to the safety car. It's like, this is going to be close. And I mean, I know Underdog won the race, but I mean, out of all the people, you probably benefited the most out of that safety car.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was pushing hard to catch up because I knew it was going to be coming in like straight in. So
Oh yeah, we
yeah,
saw.
I was
Uh,
trying to get there as quickly as possible.
yeah. One thing you have to worry about though is tire temp drop off. You pretty much right when you caught them is when they pressed the go button and had the race restarted.
And
So
Jeff was
we
still
have
telling me to warm my tires up.
yeah. So we have we have 4 races remaining after this.
3 actually.
Why
Is that
3?
it?
Because obviously with F1 22 being around the corner, we had to shorten the
Yeah,
calendar, so
correct.
we got rid of a track.
Oh, okay.
What track
Okay,
is it again?
so what track?
I believe it was Mexico that got removed.
Oh, that's right. That is right. So we have 3 races remaining. You had 78 points on the table left, but you are the championship leader. Thoughts on that with 3 races remaining?
I believe Titan's missing next week, perhaps, which is a shame. My thoughts are just trying to bring it home, unlike last year, last season. So just go for
Your
gold.
your form at the end of the last season for sure was strong. I do remember that being on working with Phantom as pretty much you were the reference point, the one that we always had to watch. Not in terms of just championship, but just more or less of in the race. But well
So
done
you
to
helped me.
you. uh, it's well done to you. We don't have Underdog or Urban Growth here, so we'll throw to Maniko who'll interview Underdog.
Yeah, I'll just say real quick though that Urban Growth he does not have a headset for certain reasons. I will not say why, as it may be a little bit too far for explanation. But yeah, needless to say, he had a bit of a quiet race, but it was a quiet race he probably would have wanted as he took his 2nd podium of the season. But we'll take it to one Underdog. And well, may not have been the best of qualifyings, but in the end, that didn't matter. Mastering the wet to dry conditions, taking 15, 16 laps on a set of softs, which was absolutely mind-blowing, but managed to make it work without a puncture, and well, you comfortably took the win and the fastest lap in one of the most dominant performances this season. Tell us, how's that race for you?
Which is actually pretty good for me. I know I didn't have the greatest qualifying, but I made the jump at the start, which I had to get past Ball Guy before I went into pits so I have a faster lap so I can overcut him, and that worked, going on the softs. Then on the softs, I just handled them until I pushed them as far as I could, just in case for a possible safety car, which did happen the 2nd lap after I pitted. So I knew I was golden for the final laps, which this track is brutal. Sometimes you just gotta be patient with it. If you respect it, the track will respect you back.
I think that's a lesson pretty much everyone will want to take, and well, you definitely took that into account and took the win, your 2nd win of the season, and quite an amazing performance. And with that, you jump up now to P3 in the Drivers' Championship, if our math is correct. And with 3 races left to go, do you think you can still go for it? Do you think you could still be a force to be reckoned with in this championship?
Yeah, there's 3 races left. Anything could happen. You got Japan next, right? Yeah. Japan.
Yes, that's correct.
Japan, USA, and Brazil left. So those are good challenging tracks.
Is that your thing? Do you like challenging tracks?
Yeah, especially Japan. Japan's brutal. But you gotta be nice to it.
You had to avoid the curbs.
You heard it from one Underdog himself. Yeah, especially with the curbs.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is very true. But you heard it from one Underdog himself. He likes the challenging tracks, and the next 2 tracks, one, of course, being Japan. And, well, if he's careful with it, he can definitely be a force to be reckoned with. So be sure to watch out for that in just a week's time. Bois, do you have any questions for one Underdog?
No, I don't. Other than really fantastic drive. I can't remember the last time I saw someone with a 30-second lead out there. pretty much nailed everything in this race, and you alluded to it, the safety car. I think James B pretty much said it for me. It's like, I bet he was just thinking, dang it. Really? Were you close on warnings? Okay. That's
I'm not sure. We'll just say no,
We'll just say
because
no.
obviously it's a straight line track.
Well,
But yeah, needless to say,
that was about the only drama.
You're here.
'Cause-
Yeah, actually, wait a minute. Yeah, there wasn't many 3 seconds.
no, there wasn't. I think
that
I think the coach got one at the end, and I think
there's only like 3 people.
yeah.
Yeah. Not many, but yeah, Wonder Dog was definitely not one of them, and well, he took the win in quite an extraordinary fashion, so congratulations to him, and congratulations to James B and Urban Growth for their podium. 3 races left. Who can take it in the latter stages? Will it be all the way to the end on the final race? We'll have to find out, but that's going to be it for Tier 4, but be sure to tune in just over 40 minutes time for the Tier 3 Championship, as they're going to go around the Temple of Speed. Then, tomorrow, we've got Tier 2 and Tier 1. The fastest drivers here in Breakout Racing League take on the Italian Grand Prix. And then next week, from one historic trek to another, it's Suzuka, the Japanese Grand Prix. And we'll start off with Realistic on Thursday, and then we go round once more. Japan, and with the rumors of Titan and a couple of others missing once again, we could potentially see another turn in the championship, so be sure to tune in next week, but be sure to tune in 40 minutes time for Tier 3. From Bon, that's everything. Good day, good night, see you.
Cheers,
40 minutes
guys.
time.